How's it going, Star Seekers? My name's Luke and welcome back to the channel, where today we're going to be taking a look at Afterpulse, an online third-person shooter which has been out for a while on smartphones but has now made its way to the Switch. Boasting an arsenal of over 1200 weapons and skins, 5 game modes, 8 unique maps and full crossplay support, Afterpulse sounds promising, but can its gameplay and content justify its premium price tag? And does it have what it takes to compete with the likes of Rogue Company? In this in-depth review I aim to answer those questions and more, so strap on your body armour, zero those sights and let's get into it. So I'll start by saying that I make no apologies for the comparisons I'm going to make throughout this review between this game and Rogue Company, considering the latter is the biggest online competitive third-person shooter on the Switch that doesn't contain the words Fort or Night. I also want to say that I was given a pre-release copy of the game for this review, so some details may change when it releases, but as always I'm going to be providing detailed and honest information about my gameplay experience. Now when you first start Afterpulse, you're going to have to create an account unless you've already got one on the mobile version of the game, in which case you can link that account to your Switch. Following this you get a brief tutorial to teach you the game's basic controls, and when I say basic I mean basic. Coming from mobile where controls need to be simplified for touchscreens, you won't find any of the jumping, rolling or cover based mechanics present in Rogue Company, and instead you're restricted to standing upright as you move with the left thumbstick and aim with the right. Now aiming in Afterpulse is also handled completely different, once more thanks to its mobile routes, and unlike Rogue Company where you can fire from the hip and can increase your accuracy by holding the left trigger, in Afterpulse as long as you're aiming in the enemy's general direction you'll lock onto them. The game's extremely potent aim assist will then kick in and you'll literally follow the enemy with your crosshairs, so much so that it feels as though aiming is merely a suggestion in Afterpulse. Anyway, we'll get back to the aiming shenanigans later, but just so you know, as well as hipfire, you are actually able to aim down sights. You can also switch to your secondary weapons, which include pistols, grenade launchers and rocket launchers, as well as use utility items such as grenades, flashbangs and medkits, though there's not much cause to use any of these. So dropping into the main menu of Afterpulse, everything is laid out in a familiar fashion similar to other games of this kind. Along the top you have things like your mission log, which provides a list of objectives for you to complete, rewarding you with gold, XP and other currencies, and you also have your mailbox where you can claim these rewards as well as those earned from leveling up or logging in. Down the left side of the screen we have things like the special offers menu where you can buy crates, gold bars which are this game's premium currency, more crates and even more crates, and you'll start to notice the game puts quite a bit of emphasis on in-app purchases despite you already having paid a premium price for it. Next we have the events menu where you can find details about the seasonal rewards you can earn from playing the game, plus don't forget the special offers at the shop, which just so happens to be our next port of call, and I'm going to cover off the shop prior to getting into the actual gameplay for a reason, so bear with me on this one. Now unlike Rogue Company's in-game shop, which contains a bunch of different cosmetic items for you to play dress up with your avatar, the selection of goods in Afterpulse's shop mainly focuses around loot crates which contain either weapons or armour, and these come in a variety of flavours. Your basic warfare crates, which contain 1 to 4 star regular weapons and armour, can be purchased using currency earned in game, which for simplicity's sake I'll call chips. Chips are also used to buy training crates which contain items used as upgrade materials, and surprisingly topping up your supply of grenades and flashbangs also costs chips. Now when it comes to the game's restricted and specialist weapon and armour crates, which contain more powerful 4 to 6 star rated equipment, these are all purchased using gold bars, as are the more powerful grenade variants and medkits. You can earn small quantities of gold by levelling up and completing missions, or of course by buying them from the eShop once they go live on the 14th of April. Upon opening a crate you'll obtain a random weapon or piece of armour from that crate's pool of items, and as expected higher star rated equipment have lower chances of dropping. Now when it comes to weapons and armour, the game has some huge variety. Weapon types include things like assault rifles, submachine guns, sniper rifles and LMGs, and each weapon has its own set of stats, including things like damage, fire rate, accuracy and ammo capacity. Armour can be equipped on your head, body and legs, and these mainly affect your character's movement speed and total health pool, but most armours also come with set bonuses increasing your proficiencies with certain weapons. Now the star rating of equipment affects its stats, with higher star ratings generally providing higher stats, and here's where we broach the subject that you probably all saw coming, and that is whether or not Afterpulse is a pay to win game. And for me, it's gonna have to be an unequivocal yes. Take for example the Nintendo Switch Fast Pass that you get for free when purchasing the Switch version of the game, which gives you a full set of 5-star Hazmaru armour. If you compare this armour set to regular 2-star or even 4-star equipment pulled from standard crates, you'll find that it grants you nearly twice the amount of health after just a few upgrades. You also get a 5-star LMG from this fast pass and a bunch of crates containing 4 to 6-star weapons, from which I pulled this absolute beast of an LMG, which you'll see in action very shortly. The fast pass also gives you a bunch of gold to spend on a few more crates, some nice XP, cash and gold boosters, and an improved daily rewards calendar from which you obtain items each day you log into the game. So after opening a bunch of crates and snagging myself some nice gear, I decided to create a couple of loadouts, though like most things in the game you have to purchase additional loadout slots as well as inventory slots for your ever growing collection of weapons and armour. For one of my loadouts I opted for a light armour set and an assault rifle, and for the other I decided to deck my character out in full heavy Hazmaru armour and equip him with a 6-star LMG. I then decided to hit multiplayer and see what the game had to offer. Now the server region menu allows you to change between Europe, Asia and North American servers, and Afterpulse has 5 game modes, though from what I could tell, Team Deathmatch is the only one you can play at any time. Operations mode features objective based games and rotates through several different game modes, changing every few days, though I couldn't actually work out what the other game modes were, and after queuing for about 20 minutes on 2 different servers, I never actually managed to join an operations game. You also have a ranked game mode where you can progress through the ranks and earn rewards, though again I only ever got to play TDM, so from the looks of things, Team Deathmatch is the main game mode you'll be playing in Afterpulse. Now getting into a TDM or ranked game wasn't too bad, and I usually only had to wait around 30 seconds. After this I joined a pre-game lobby, was placed into a team with 3 other players, and then loaded into my first 4v4 which took place on a map called Close Quarters Camp. Now the game also has a squad menu which allows you to group up with friends using a squad ID code, though I tried this with a friend playing on mobile and we kept getting an error saying our game versions were different, but hopefully this will work properly on release. So after a considerable 1-minute load time, the match began, and what can only be described as a complete massacre ensued. Now I've already mentioned that the star rating of gear plays a big part when it comes to your success against other players, but the cross-platform support blows this out the water. For years, Nintendo Switch players have been complaining about the disadvantage they have against Xbox, PlayStation and PC players in cross-platform competitive games, but playing with a Pro controller on the Switch against a team of players using mobile phones results in the most broken and unbalanced gameplay that I've ever experienced. Not only was I able to move and turn faster than any other player, the aim assist also meant I barely had to aim before pulling the trigger, and as the dust settled, I ended my first game with 21 kills and 0 deaths. Now my days of being a Call of Duty god are long gone, so this wasn't down to skill, and just to prove this point, I then switched to my heavy loadout and this is what happened. So as you can see, I ended this match with 50 kills and no deaths, and this is how every match went regardless of the weapon that I used. The range that weapons lock onto players is determined by the type of weapon, so SMGs have a short lock on range, assault rifles are a little longer, but my big LMG could shoot across the map no problem. Sniper rifles on the other hand won't lock on unless you're aiming down sight, but the second that you do look down that scope, the aim assist kicks in and then it's goodnight Vienna. It's worth noting you can also earn materials from completing games, which can then be used to level up your weapons and armour, making them even more overpowered, and after maxing out the level you can then even raise the star rating. Now you might be one of those people that thinks absolutely ruining the opposite team every game is fun, but for me this is not competitive gaming. Even if I wanted to, there isn't an option to turn off the aim assist, and I think the developers really need to address this imbalance unless they want to destroy their mobile player base once the Switch version releases. Now overall, Afterpulse isn't a bad game, I just can't see the Switch release being very popular or doing very well at all, especially with a simplistic gunplay, premium price tag and pay to win loot crate system. The game does have some decent maps, though they're nowhere near as pretty or as memorable as Rogue Company's maps, and audio wise things are also pretty lacking, with most of the guns sounding the same. Now I played around 15 matches before calling it quits, one because it just wasn't very fun massacring the opposite team in every single game, and two just because I felt bad for the smartphone players. When it comes to my own personal rating of the game, I'm going to be giving Afterpulse 2 out of 5 stars. Once the game releases, they may balance it a bit more, tone down the auto assist and possibly introduce Switch only servers. Until then though, I for one won't be playing any more Afterpulse, and in its current state, I can't recommend that you do either. Afterpulse releases on the 30th of March, and you can pick it up from the UK Switch eShop for £17.99 or from the US eShop for $19.99. Alternatively, the game's also available for free on Android and iOS smartphones. And that's about it for this in-depth review of Afterpulse on the Nintendo Switch. Don't forget to hit that like button if it helped you out, let me know your thoughts on the game and the review in the comments section below, and consider subscribing to the channel as I upload new Nintendo Switch reviews and content every few days. For now though, I want to thank you all once again for watching, and until next time, take care of yourselves and game on.